Good morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations that are 501c3 nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they are here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some new friends today. Since 1970, the Haven has been a place of healing for women facing substance use disorders. They offer gender-specific programs designed for all women, with a special focus on those who are pregnant or parenting. Their residential treatment center and outpatient clinic welcomes members, along with their children and families, with open arms. The Haven's mission is to reunite families, rebuild communities, and strengthen mother-child bonds through the process of healing from substance use or co-occurring disorders. And today, I'm fortunate enough to speak with Linda Weigel-Firor, consultant and supporter at the Haven. Linda, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm happy you're here as well. And we've also got Emilia Honkasaari, Vice President of Communications and Development at the Haven Tucson. Emilia, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very happy that you're here. It was interesting to talk and learn about your organization as we were getting ready to do all of this. And then I did all my research over at thehaventucson.org. And go log on right now and check out what we're talking about, because they're really here to help women recover with respect. And it's a big, big deal, the lives that you are helping out here. I've given a little bit about it. Why don't you really give us the 101 of what your organization is all about?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So the Haven is celebrating its 55th anniversary this year, and we serve over 500 women a year, helping them recover from substance use disorders. And our programs are very unique because we allow mothers to bring their young children into treatment with them. And that is not something that nearly any other places in Tucson or in Pima County do. So that is something very specific about the Haven. We have always been focused on women and their children because we know that the best way women heal is together with their children. So we want to focus on that mother-child bond and helping families stay together.
That's so important. And 55 years. Wow, that's really impressive.
That is a long time. We estimate, and this is kind of underestimating probably, that we have served over 10,000 women during our existence because we've been around for so long.
That's incredible. How long have you been with the organization?
I've been working there a bit over 3 years.
Okay, congrats.
Thank
What about you, Linda? How long have you been involved with the organization helping out?
Just about 3 years as well, too.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's amazing. So again, it's a big deal what you are doing, and you've got a lot of these important programs, but that fact is very important. I didn't realize that that was something that a lot of women in struggle are dealing with, that they would have to be separated from their child. That's mind-blowing.
It is. I'm a mother of 2 young children, and I could not imagine leaving them behind. And a lot of women are not as lucky as I have. I have a spouse who could take care of them, but a lot of women don't really have that. They don't have any place or anybody who could take care of their children. So to be able to come to treatment with your children is a huge motivating factor for women.
Well, let's talk about some of this treatment, because I was looking on the website. You got various programs, but 3 major categories. So let's just really talk about them. Tell me everything about the residential program, then we'll talk about intensive outpatient programs, and then we're going to talk about native ways, which is very fascinating. Tell me about your residential program and everything that's actually going into what you do.
Yeah. The residential program is our highest level of care. So we have a campus in Midtown Tucson, and that's where the women live. They live there for anywhere from 30 to 90 days. And during that time, they participate in pretty intensive programming. So they wake up at 7 o'clock, have breakfast, then there's a community meeting, and then there's a lot of different kinds of classes about relapse prevention, anger management, domestic violence, all kinds of issues that might impact the women and their daily lives. And in addition to the groups, there's individual counseling and a lot of fun activities as well, because being in substance use recovery can be really hard work. So we try to make it as fun as possible. Now, Halloween is coming up, so we're definitely going to be doing trick-or-treating, and the women get to dress up and their children get to dress up. So we try to encourage as many activities like that are fun, sober things.
It's really important to find that balance. I kind of always use the example of everyone thinks they could drive, but if you take the lanes off the highway, we can't go nowhere. It's about having lanes. You need people to, in a way, figure out how to drive in the lane again sometimes because they're a little erratic or they've lost control. So helping them find that control again through these programs, through just simple structure, then that education on top, that's huge and really helping out a lot of folks. And I do, again, love the idea of just they're there and able to do it still kind of as a family unit, which is important. That's very, very important.
It is. Structure is super important. A lot of women say that they never had structure, even as growing up. Like a lot of women have substance use disorders in their family. So their parents were always kind of erratic maybe, or they didn't really have somebody who would force them to wake up and get ready to school and do all the things. So women have said that the Haven was the first time in my life when I really had to do all the things that you mentioned. And some of us take for granted that, of course, you have to wake up and get ready and clean your room. And of course, that's what you do as an adult. But some of the women have really had nobody to teach them that.
Yeah.
So at the Haven, we offer a lot of compassion and work together with the women and kind of lead by example as well.
I always find that organization is the secret to success. No matter what you're doing, help yourself learn to be organized in that, and you will be a success. You just need to be organized, and you'll have much more of a better chance to be successful. I just find that. Linda, tell me about just some of your experience with all this as we've been going on.
Well, one of the things I want to kind of piggyback on with what Emilia said is that when the women enter the program, they do often come from homes that have substance abuse within them, but they also come from long generations of intergenerational poverty, domestic violence, incarceration, broken families, and they sometimes arrive with nothing more than the shirt on their back. And we want to, not that we want to, we do at the Haven reduce the stigma around substance abuse disorder. You know, it is a disease, and it's not something that these women choose for themselves. No one would choose to get their life into a place where they end up needing this kind of intensive programming, but it does happen. And so with the Haven, it breaks down those stigmas, and it also understands that women and men need a different kind of substance abuse recovery because they experience substance abuse or misuse differently. And so they approach it with the focus on the women and have an extremely high success rate compared to other programs in the United States.
I mean, I believe it. And not just the ladies, but the kids with them. That's the difference too. I don't often hear a lot of stories of a single homeless dad and they've got their kid and they don't know what to do. You hear it a lot with women. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are left with a child while someone leaves them behind. That is a big factor, that a lady's experience is far different than a guy's experience in many, many circumstances, but homelessness, very much, very much. And hearing that you do break down the stigma of anything is very important to do. It's something to be more fearful of even now than ever before, because even the drugs are just so much more intense than they were. Addiction is difficult, and it's something that people need a buddy to get through. I mean, really, that buddy system of having someone there, your sponsor, when they talk about AA, having someone there, and you are there for these folks.
And it is really communal sense, I would say, at the Haven. Haven is different than a lot of other treatment facilities in the way that we're not clinical. It's not white walls. It doesn't feel like you're in a hospital. But we're in Midtown Tucson. It used to be an old arthritis treatment center, and then we have small casitas. There's a lot of green space, outdoor areas, toys for the children, beautiful murals. So it feels like a very healing communal space and not institutional, like we're punishing you, you're here, you've done something bad. And I'd say our motto is recovery with respect, and we really embody that in everything we do, because a lot of the women, as Linda and you were saying, have experienced a lot of shame, and they are embarrassed to be there, and they might not even love themselves or their children, but we have to give them positive affirmations. You can do it. It's not your fault. We're here to work it through together and build a sense of community.
100%.
And the Haven also employs a lot of women with lived experiences and some who are alumni of the Haven, so that the people who are currently in the program really have these role models to model their lives after. They can see themselves in the counselors and the frontline staff, because it does say something to them that if this person that I look up to right now, who is successful, who has a job, who is doing really well, was once in my shoes, it's possible for me.
That's insane. I mean, actually, no, what's insane right now? Chris Edwards is calling me right now, which is hysterical because he's
one of our champions.
He's one of your champions.
Yeah,
maybe he's trying to get in.
I should almost answer it. I don't even. I don't think I can. Here, wait. Let's take a pause and find out what Chris Edwards is doing.
He might be trying to get in because I told him.
Hang on a second, Chris Edwards. What are you doing here?
I'm standing in the rain.
What? Are you at the radio station?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, hang on a second, because Chris Edwards is one of our champions here. I'm right in the middle of an interview. We were literally about to talk about you. So why don't I go open the door? Chris Edwards standing in the rain. Hang on 1 second. I'll be right there. That's hysterical. Oh, you never know who's going to show up here. Boom, get on that, my friend. Chris Edwards is here. Look at that Tucson appliance superstar and champion for recovery of the Haven. Chris, how's it going? Thanks.
Oh, my God. It's one. You know what? I got to start checking the darn weather. It is raining outside. It is cold, but it's beautiful. And let me tell you, the champions, the Haven is an amazing, amazing organization. I am just so proud to be a part of this. I'm putting on an event, and by the time this airs, it's probably going to be over, but we're going to raise some money for this great organization. I'm so excited for this. Can you tell?
Yeah, I can tell, Chris. I mean, you're always pretty excited, but this is next level. So it's really exciting because that's what the champions are doing. It's that you're throwing all these kind of separate events that are going to raise money for this great organization, honoring their 55th anniversary. And then you're going to have a really big event culminating at the end of this on November 21st. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm so pumped. Tell me all about the
so we
big
want to hear
one.
about this.
Yeah.
Great. So we kicked off the Champions for Recovery campaign on September 18th. And then the campaign runs for 2 months. We're pretty much in the middle of it now. And the great culmination is going to be on November 21st. And at that event, we will celebrate the champions, all the events that they have organized, all the raising awareness and funds for the Haven. And also we'll be celebrating our 55th anniversary. So it's going to be kind of our end of the year party where we celebrate all the great things that have happened this year, as well as the champions.
What a big deal. Trying to raise $55,000, so they're on the march to do it. You don't have to throw an event to help this organization out, by the way. You yourselves can donate to them. Just go right over to thehaventucson.org to learn all the details and get involved. But Chris, tell me about why you're involved with this great organization and why you want to be one of their champions.
Well, I went and visited they have several locations, not just one location. And believe it or not, they had some appliances that might not have worked too well. And we were able to, I'm so blessed to be in the appliance industry. We were able to help them out with that. And I got to meet some of the residents, and they are just so happy to be there, to be able to recover from some of the things that some of us, we're human. It happens. We go through it. And the Haven, they've taken care of it. And I've met so many people that have been involved with the Haven for several years. I mean, I'm not going to say 55 years. I mean, I'm super old too, but at least 25 years they've been involved in it. And it's just a great, they really help these women that are in need. And I'm just so proud to be part of it.
Well, thanks for doing what you do, Chris, because, again, you do help so many organizations out and around town. And when I go to this website, I'm like, oh, of course he is. There's Chris Edwards hanging out. So really great to see your photo pop up. You do help so many people donating those appliances as well. Not just that, but throwing big parties and donating all this fun stuff. You really are one of the pinnacle people here in town that we really appreciate. And that's what's important about a community, is it's folks like you that are doing a lot for us here. And you do really care, because I don't think anyone could fake being Chris Edwards.
Thank you so much for that. I truly appreciate that, Frank. And on the Haven website, I don't know exactly when this is going to be, but it tells you all the events that's going on and where they're going to be. And so I'm just so proud to be a part of this.
Heck yeah.
We're so glad to have you. Yes, as Chris mentioned, all the event information is on our website. And even if people can't make it to a bingo night or any of the events, they can still donate and support their favorite champion. So we have 6 champions, and it is a friendly competition to see who raises the most funds for the Haven.
Look at
Yeah.
that. Like
I never called it a
walkathon.
competition, to be honest. I called it a collaboration to help
Yes.
this great organization. Charlinda and I were talking about that, and I went to one of her events, and she is such a sweet soul. She has like 6 or 7 events that are amazing.
Yes.
I just have this one big one, but I mean, I can only do so much, right?
Yeah, and you're doing almost the most,
Yeah.
I think, that
Yeah.
we're going to be having together at all these fun events. Keep track of everything, like they were saying over at thehaventucson.org. I want to get back into some of what we were talking about. We're talking about all the great things that you do as an organization and talking about some of the programs.
I could talk a bit about the intensive outpatient program first. So that kind of serves as a stepping stone for a lot of women after they have completed residential program and they are re-entering back into the community. But they still need some of that support and some programming and classes. Individual therapy is huge. And in the intensive outpatient program, we have a strong focus on trauma, everything is trauma-informed care to begin with, but also addressing the underlying traumas that often cause substance use disorders for women. So we have EMDR and sandbox therapy and lots of different therapeutic modalities to really address the underlying traumas that can lead to substance use disorders. And we offer our intensive outpatient program with recovery housing. That was one of the sites that Chris mentioned that he toured. So those are just housing units and casitas that are in the community, and the women who are part of our residential or intensive outpatient program can live in those housing units. So that is a huge need in our community. I think we talked about that a bit earlier about the homelessness. So just housing affordability and homelessness are huge issues in Tucson, and we're really proud to offer our intensive outpatient program with housing. So they don't have to pay rent or anything, so that they can really focus on their recovery and get back on their feet.
How long is that timeline for recovery if they are staying in one of those homes? Like it's obviously like, oh, you live here for 5 years, because that's not where you're trying to move them along and help them out. What does a timeline like that look like?
It is 90 days, so 3 months. We wish it would be longer. In the past, substance use recovery has been longer. The treatment periods have been longer, 6 months, 12 months. And that is the amount of time that it can take to get back on your feet. Because some of these women have, they've had a substance use disorder since they were teenagers. It can be a really long time. And then rewiring your brain and learning those new healthy habits and coping mechanisms, it takes longer than 60 or 90 days. So in an ideal scenario, somebody could be in our residential program for up to 90 days, another 90 days in the intensive outpatient program, and then continue in outpatient program, just seeing a therapist, for example, another unlimited time, really, however long it takes for them to get back on there, where they feel like they're grounded in their recovery and doing well.
All right. Because I was wondering, it says intensive outpatient, then just outpatient. That's fascinating.
Exactly.
Testimonials are on there too, so you can learn on your own just from people that have gone through it. And even going back to something earlier, some of those mentors and people that have gone through this, often they wind up being my guest on Lifestyle Tucson, and they are the ones that really, seeing is believing, so they really can be an inspiration to those newer folks that show up. So that's very, very important that they are there and a part of that team. Always get inspired by testimonials, get inspired by everybody getting involved here. And tell me now a bit about Native Ways and that program, which I'm sure is probably doesn't exist in Maine, it's probably something here that's great and regional and is a very Tucson kind of Southwest specific thing. Tell me all about this program.
Well, we found that women who are Native or Indigenous, often the recovery programs that they have gone through in the past really didn't recognize their culture, or were they willing to bring in some of their cultural healing practices into recovery. And they often would leave recovery much earlier than they should without having, gained all of the skills that they needed to be successful in the community afterwards. So the Haven created this an innovative and truly probably one-of-a-kind programs, Native Ways. And they bring in elders and people who are experts in recovery practices for Native women and Indigenous women, and they bring them right on site. They participate in drumming circles, and they participate in smudging and
ceremonies,
yes,
talking circles.
Yes, and all the women who are at the Haven can participate in this. And what we have found is that the women who are not Native get as much out of it as those who are. And in the recovering housing, they actually, the Native and Indigenous women have their own house to stay in. And it creates a community bond for them that is extremely important in their community. So it's an incredible practice. And we would really love to get information out about that Native Ways program a little more far and wide, because it's kind of a hidden treasure that the Haven offers that I think would really be a turning point for a lot of women who are seeking recovery but don't feel that they're going to be honored for their cultural heritage, and the Haven does.
That's incredible. I mean, honestly, way to take so much thought and care. And I'm willing to bet that a lot of those other people that aren't a part of that culture do get a lot out of it. Just like you were saying before, where some people have never experienced this. I'm willing to bet a lot of ladies have never experienced even just maybe some meditation, or maybe just sitting and having those conversations, or doing those songs and doing those traditional things that some folks will get a lot out of it because they've never, I don't know, taken the time to do something like that in a communal situation.
Yeah.
That's fascinating stuff. I love it.
Some of the native cultures, they explain that substance use disorder is not being in balance, and it's not being in balance with yourself, with your family, with your elders, with your higher power and your community. So it's all about finding that balance again, and that helps you heal.
No,
It's great. Like, I love that concept.
yeah.
Yeah. Something we all kind of need,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
I always say that the best way to get involved in anything is volunteer. Do you look for volunteers? Are there volunteer opportunities at the Haven for folks to get involved in some way?
So we're a bit different organization than a lot of other nonprofits because we are licensed and we provide clinical care. So it's kind of like a hospital, basically. So it's not, we don't really have volunteer opportunities, traditional volunteer opportunities as such. We had some before the COVID, and then things kind of got locked down because we wanted to prevent the spread of any illnesses, obviously. So we have, we're always seeking donations, both monetary and in-kind donations. As Linda mentioned, a lot of women come to the Haven with wearing just the clothes on their back. So we're always seeking clothing donations, shoes, toys for the children who stay there, books, puzzles, art supplies, journaling supplies, any kind of like what you think of school supplies, just material that helps women stay organized and express themselves.
Okay.
So we're always seeking donations like that. Any organization or individual is interested in a specific volunteer thing, they have some unique skill, for example, that they would like to share with the women, we're more than happy to talk with them and see if there's a way to make that happen.
Okay, fascinating. Because I always ask for that. If people can't donate their time, donate some money. There's a lot of opportunities because you do qualify for that Arizona tax credit. But also, it looks like you've got Rains Fund, which is very interesting. Tell me about Rains Fund and how that's going to help everything move along as well.
Yeah, so Ren Budowski was a longtime supporter of the Haven, advocate for women's rights, and when she passed away, her sons and family wanted to create a fund in her honor. And that fund is used, all the funding in that fund is used directly to support the women as they are exiting the intensive outpatient program and re-entering back into the community. So it can help with their housing is the big thing, as we talked about. So it can help pay first month rent or moving in cost or help purchase a vehicle or help with daycare needs or things like that. So it helps the women directly.
And don't forget, you can leave a legacy as well, because there's a way to do that where you can bequest and gift of life insurance and gift of retirement, where you can bequeath a lot to this organization and a lot to the women that they are helping if that is within your means. So there's a lot of opportunities to give and get involved and stay involved with the Haven. All these events that are happening right now as well are really a great way to get involved and pick someone that you do want to support when it comes to getting on Chris's team and donating in his name. Like I was saying real quick before, kind of like a walkathon. You're going to pick one of these great champions and say, I'm going to donate because I'm a fan of Chris Edwards, so let me donate in his name. And then his team in that friendly competition, what he calls collaboration, is really important to do. So there are a lot of ways to get involved at all of these events. And at that big event, let's not forget, on the 21st, tell me again everything that's happening once again at that big event on the 21st, that people know what they're doing. Yeah.
Mentioned about the champions, I realized we did not tell who else is champion in addition to Chris and Corbin from Tucson Appliance Company. So we have Charlene DeHoadley is one of our champions, Casey Hill, Carrie Tallyman, and Charlene Tripp. And all of these champions are organizing wonderful events and just spreading awareness about the Haven amongst their networks. This is the first year that we have organized this Champions for Recovery campaign. And we're very excited to see what it's doing for us and our community, because Haven is kind of the best kept secret in town, and we don't want to be a best kept secret in town anymore. We want to spread the awareness about our work and make sure women know that we are available for them if they are struggling, that Haven is here and our doors are open.
And the event is going to be at the Community Foundation of Southern Arizona on the 21st. I believe the time is 5 to 7. And you need to RSVP, and you can find that on the Haven website. There'll be a drop-down menu where you can RSVP for yourself or anyone who you want to bring with you to come out and celebrate this amazing organization.
I often ask what's the best kept secret, but sometimes it is our organization itself. We'd like people to know about that. But another question I always ask is, tell me a success story. But I don't have to ask that here because you have 55 stories about the Haven.
We do.
That's what you're doing.
So
tell me about this great little campaign.
Thank you for asking that. We are collecting, since I mentioned we are celebrating our 55th anniversary, so we are collecting stories about the Haven. Our goal is to collect 55 stories. I think it's going to be more than that we end up collecting. But just anybody who has been involved with the Haven in any way. So a lot of these are stories about women who have participated in the program. We're also collecting stories of any longtime supporters or anybody who has somehow been moved by the Haven. When I first joined the Haven about 3 years ago, my coworkers warned me, when you wear a Haven shirt out and about, people will come to you. And sure enough, that happened in my daughter's daycare. This teacher who is just wonderful, it makes me tear up just thinking about that, came to me. She was my daughter's teacher. And she said, oh, my son knows about the Haven. I know about the Haven. And I said, oh, okay, I'm glad to hear that. And I asked how her son is doing, and she said her son passed away because of fentanyl overdose.
Oh.
But her son's girlfriend had gone through the Haven, and she was doing well. She was in recovery, and she was doing well. And it just always makes me so sad that there's people who have lost loved ones. And I think we often can talk about addiction, like, oh, it's those people on the streets, and they're just using, why are they smoking meth, and they should just stop. But it is, there's somebody's, they're family members. It's somebody's son. It's somebody's daughter, wife, husband, mother, father. Like, they are family members. And we often treat people who have substance use disorder as the other people who should just take care of their business and stop bothering us. But they really are just members of our community. And we want to make sure that whenever they come to the Haven, our doors are open and we welcome them in. And I think these 55 stories that we are collecting about the Haven highlight that so well. I recently interviewed one of our alumni who had been, her parents had a substance use disorder. She had been using drugs since she was a child, since she was 5 or 6 years old, and had gone through so much trauma and violence and so many horrible things like you could not even imagine. And she was caught trafficking drugs at the border, in the southern border. And she was facing a 15-year prison sentence. And she came to the Haven as a part of her pretrial deal. She did really well, and she was put on parole instead of sentenced to prison. And she finished her pretrial parole in 18 months, and she's doing great. She has 2 jobs. She has her own apartment. She has her own car. She's in her daughter's life again. And she went from facing 15-year prison sentence to just living her life.
Yeah.
And she says she's doing many things for the first time in her life, things that we might take for granted, like going to a concert. She has gone to the concert for the first time in her life.
Wow.
And it's just those kind of stories that really remind me of wonderful work that the Haven does.
Again, she's been moved to tears. I wish we were filming. I'm moved to tears. All right. Don't ever apologize for that very real thing that's happening, because what you're doing is real good work. And that story right there is the proof. And sometimes people are a little too afraid to cry. That's very important that you're doing what you're doing, because it shows that you're supposed to be doing what you do.
Thank you.
So really, thanks so much for being here today. If I get any last calls to action or any last thoughts, Linda, any last things before we go, and then we'll say bye to Chris as well.
Well, we know in this community that there are an enormous number of nonprofits out there to support, and everybody has to make a choice about where they want to give their time and talent to. And I just can't express enough. I have some lived experience with substance abuse disorder. I'm 31 years sober this year. And without organizations like the Haven, I'm not sure if my story would have been as good as it is. And although I didn't go through the Haven, I certainly know the struggles that these women have to go through. And so take a very long, hard look at the Haven, the wonderful work they do. And also, if you just want to have a lot of fun, show up at one of these amazing events that the champions are doing. I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
Any final thoughts or last words from you, our champion over here who surprised us today?
Well, I just wanted to remind everybody that the colors are purple and gold, which is kind of familiar to me. And it's the beautiful little purple butterfly that really gets to me. And I think there's a story behind that. Do you know that story? Can you tell us about that story? Otherwise, I'm just so proud to be a part of this nonprofit organization for our community and for the women that it's helping.
Thank you for mentioning that. So the butterfly symbolizes the transformation that the women come through when they come to the Haven. Because when they first come to the Haven, they are kind of in that pupusa stage of just consuming and not really like close to the ground. But then when they come to the Haven and they start to heal and they start to believe in themselves and love themselves again, they become butterflies, and then they fly high in the sky and they are doing well. So we even used to, this was also before the COVID, we used to have butterflying ceremonies when the women would graduate from the Haven. So they were lifted in the sky by the other women. They would butterfly. And a lot of women really love that symbolism.
That is beautiful. I mean, honestly, this entire conversation has been a beautiful time for me here. Getting a surprise guest, always exciting. We had a lot of fun today talking about a very heavy topic, but really that's the point of this show is we talk about this heavy stuff, but we really, I feel like, shine a spotlight on hope. And that is what we're doing, and that's what you're doing at the Haven. Because today we made friends with Linda Weigel-Firor, consultant and supporter at the Haven, as well as Emilia Honkasaari, Vice President of Communications and Development at the Haven. And we got surprised by Chris Edwards of Tucson Appliance, champion for recovery at the Haven. Recovery with respect, helping women heal from substance use disorders in a family-inclusive environment. Thank you all so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Frank, we love you.
I love you too, buddy. This was Lifestyle Tucson.
Bing bong bing, time for a recap. Hysterical that Chris Edwards showed up right in the middle of that interview, and what a champion that he is of Tucson Appliance Company. So thank you to him for making this interview even more fun and celebratory, because sometimes it's hard to talk about all these heavy topics, but I'll tell you, Chris Edwards shows up, seems like we can chuckle about anything, and it was great they invited him down. I didn't know that. So I'm so glad that he was able to make time for us and the Haven. And you should go make some time for the Haven. Why don't you go check them out over on their website, over at thehaventucson.org. You can go follow them over on Instagram at thehaventucson. And then Facebook.com, obviously. The Haven Tucson AZ is where you want to find them on there. Their phone number is 520-300-5243. And they've got a few different addresses, but really, and some other extra phone numbers. Why don't you just go to the website and it's all there for you. It's not like you're writing down phone numbers today. But really, if you are in need of help or you know someone that's in need of help, reach out to the Haven because they're obviously doing great work and they've been doing it for a good long time. Recovery with respect is a really important piece of it. If you need that help, they are here to help you. And they're also here to party with you and make you feel good because they're throwing all these events. Remember, Chris Edwards isn't just their only champion. They've got several champions. And maybe you yourself want to be a champion and throw some events with them as they count down toward their big event on November 21st. So again, go get all the details over at thehaventucson.org and don't miss it. And I want to thank our new friends at the Haven for joining me today. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever fine podcasts are champions. Follow on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, especially at Lifestyle Tucson, because I'm your BFF, your best Frank forever, Frank Powers. And toot toot Tucson, I love you the most.